Welcome to Tackle Talk Live, a show dedicated to making you a better angler. Your host, V&M General Manager Kevin Jean and Iowa Ranger Pro Staffer Steve Graff will keep you up to date on what's happening on the best lakes in the Ark-La-Tex region, with a primary focus on Sam Rayburn and Toledo Bend, two guys who have fished at a high level with Pro-Am experience with ABA, BFLs, Toyota Series, and BASS Opens. Anglers with a wealth of knowledge and willing to share. So pull up a chair, kick back, and see why so many anglers watch Tackle Talk Live. Here are your hosts, Kevin Jean and Steve Graff.
Welcome to Tackle Talk Live here on the shores of Sibley Lake and here in Natchitoches, Louisiana, where we got 2 3/4 inches of rain last night, which is pretty darn good considering we hadn't had any rain in quite a while, and it saved me from having to water my grass, Kevin.
Well, I noticed that when I come in, you had water all standing out there.
Actually, we got a leak.
Oh.
Yeah, we got a city leak out here in front of my house as well. It's just got called in yesterday. We got to get it fixed as well. But we still had a great rain here, much needed rain for our region. And as you people that live in this region understand, been under a drought. Toledo Bend, I don't know what lake level is there. Probably 3 feet low.
It's coming down. It's not. It's still, I want to say 170-ish, but
yeah.
I haven't looked at it in a week or so. But I mean, it's coming down, but it's not just drastically falling like you would expect.
And Rayburn's maintained a pretty good level, a couple of feet low maybe at the most. But where they really had it bad is Lake Fork, 6 feet low, still over 5-6 feet low there as we speak. So pray for rain in that region, and because they need it up there around Lake Fork.
But they catching them up there too, though. I don't know if them guys want any rain the way they catch them up there, because it is on fire at Lake Fork right now.
Yep, you are correct. By the way, I'm Ranger Iowa Pro Staffer Steve Graff, along with V&M General Manager Kevin Jean, running the board. Producing this show is the man behind the scenes, wearing the headset, wears the boss cap, Mr. James Stanfield. Former Northwestern State graduate, fixing to be a working man at Northwestern State. Congratulations, James, on your new job. And but today we've got a really good show lined up for you. We got the winner of the Bass Champs Texas Shootout. We got one of the team members, former Elite Series pro Brett Pruitt, will be joining us to talk about how him and his partner, Ben South of Jasper, Texas, how they won that event. We'll also wrap up the High School Fishing National Championship. Louisiana showed out over at Pickwick Lake with over 400 teams. Louisiana had 3 in the top 10. So Louisiana boys doing it right, Kevin.
Yeah, they are. They had a very good show. And Louisiana, and you would think, especially going to Pickwick, South Louisiana especially, would not do as well. But Louisiana in the past has done really well over there at Lake Pickwick.
We have a great diversity of fisheries in our region, from Toledo Bend to Cypress tree lakes. So if you want to learn to fish structure, grass, cypress trees, I mean, we've got pretty much even river systems with Red River, the Ouachita River up in northeast Louisiana. We got great river systems. So when you leave this region, you're pretty well-rounded angler when you come out of here, and that's why I think so many of the guys from this area do so well, like Nick LeBrun, who is, by the way, the leading money winner up to this point between the Bass Pro Tour and the Tackle Warehouse. He has won over $227,000 this year to lead everybody. So congratulations to our buddy Nick, and we're so proud of him and happy for him as well. And but we're going to wrap that up, and then we'll also kind of tell you what's coming up in our region. Not much going on right now, as we all know. We're getting into July, and it's going to slow down, but the championships are right around the corner starting in September, and we'll get into some of that later on as we head into the fall. But right now, we're going to take a real quick break, recognize a few of our awesome sponsors, and so stay tuned. You're watching Tackle Talk Live.
Toledo Health is a full-service primary and acute care clinic. Nurse practitioners Jarrett Rule and Melissa Vines bring quality health care that's needed and convenient to the area. Whether it's a stomach virus or a hook in your hand, Toledo Healthcare will try and meet all your healthcare needs. Appointments available and walk-ins are always welcome. So the next time you're feeling down at Toledo Bend, stop by Toledo Healthcare, located on Highway 6, just south of Toledo Town, or you can call 318-508-5323. For all your boating needs, check out Shreveport's newest marine dealer, The Boat Shop. Raymond Kidd and his great staff will take care of all your engine repair needs or anything else that needs fixing. A certified Yamaha Mercury dealer, they carry two of the best fishing boats on the market from Sea Arc and Camus. The Boat Shop is never short on trade-ins as they're always willing and able to make you the best deal possible. Looking for great boat accessories? They're a full support Garmin and Minn Kota dealer. So the next time you're in the market for a new or used boat, or maybe you just need to service the boat you have, let the Boat Shop fix you up. To learn more, call 318-402-0399 or go to ShreveportBoatShop.com. The next time you're on I-49 just south of Natchitoches, Louisiana, stop by Cypress Knee Outdoors. A store within a store, Cypress Knee is located inside 3J's four-way. Whether you need gas, food, or drinks, they have it. While you're there, check out Cypress Knee Outdoors and pick up whatever hunting or fishing tackle you need. Top name brands like Strike King, Santones, Pro, or the #1 soft plastics made, V&M. On the hunting side, they carry guns from Mossberg, Winchester, and Remington. Plus, they've got a great supply of ammunition. Let John Abram and his staff show you everything Cypress Knee has to offer. Located just 1 mile east of 127 on I-49 or call 318-238-HUNT. You're watching Tackle Talk Live, a show dedicated to making you a better angler. Now back to the guys with all the inside scoop, Kevin Jean and Steve Graff.
Welcome back to Tackle Talk Live. I'm Ranger Diver Pro Staffer Steve Graff. He had to step out. Kevin had to step out for just a minute. He's trying to get Brett on the phone with us real quick. And again, this segment is sponsored by Toledo Health, The Boat Shop, 3J's four-way home of Cypress Knee Outdoors. And we appreciate each and every one of our sponsors. And again, if you're wanting to be a part of our sponsorship team, all you got to do, go to our Facebook page, message us on that page, and Kevin will make sure he gets a packet out to you, or we'll call you, we'll come visit with you, we'll take you to lunch. So if you're interested in a free lunch, give us a call. And we'd love to take you to lunch and make you part of our sponsorship team. And but real quick, I think we finally got Brett on the phone, and
he says he's got a guy trip. I mean, he says he's working. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know who works after they win $50,000, but
yeah, I mean, when you're making that kind of money. Brett, how you doing, buddy?
How y'all doing today?
We're doing good, man. On the phone with us is former Elite Series pro Brett Pruitt, who, along with his partner Ben South of Jasper, Texas, they had a total of 31.50 to win Bass Champs Texas Shootout on Rayburn, taking home over $50,000 in winnings. And Brett, once again, welcome to Tackle Talk Live, buddy.
Oh, thank y'all for having me. I appreciate it, guys.
Brett, are you on Toledo Ben or Sam Rayburn today?
I'm on Toledo Ben.
Okay. Crappie or bass?
We caught 10 bass, and we're now trying to catch some crappie. Toledo's been a little tougher than Rayburn for us here lately, so
yeah,
we caught about 6 or 7 crappie. Yeah.
Brett, what percentage would you say of your bass fishing guiding now has been devoted to crappie?
Oh, probably like 95%.
Really?
I normally just stick to the bass.
And three or 4 years ago, that was probably not. Did Live Scope change that dynamic?
Yes, I definitely it did. There was a lot of people that want to be able to use to learn the technology and fish offshore, and it's definitely able to stay busy doing that.
Yeah, well, good. All right, Brett. So let's jump right into it. We know you're busy. You're in the middle of a guide trip, so we want to jump into this past weekend, man. You and Ben win the Texas Shootout with over 31 pounds. Man, kind of take us through that. Let's start the day off. Well, let's start with practice.
Yeah.
How did practice go? Was y'all feeling that confident? Is this a group of fish y'all found? How was practice?
Honestly, I don't know what it was. It's like I had the confidence before even coming into the tournament. Like I had a good feeling that I don't know, just when you get one of those feelings that you're going to do good on that kind of fish. I mean, I figured we could go catch 20 pounds or so just from before it went off limits. But I wasn't catching no 6-7 pounders. But it's just like a feeling from God or something like that. It was just meant to. I hadn't even had my boat in 5 months, and I had picked it up Friday, right before the tournament, and we had to work on active target, put a new one in. The structure scan wasn't working on the boat to graph any fish. So we worked on the boat most of the official practice day.
Wow.
We caught 1 2-pounder in practice. When we finally got everything fixed, we went out there and we seen one group of fish and looked like there was 6 or so big dots off a flat, an area where both me and him had caught some fish and was pretty confident in the area, and was like, we'll just start there and we'll just go run some of our other stuff since we wasn't able to graph and even check anything. So we was expecting just to go wing it and run a bunch of different spots after finally getting everything fixed on the boat. When we showed up in the morning where them 7 or 8 dots was, it's like they was everywhere. Didn't have to use active target just to locate certain fish. They was just feeding on a big flat. And what I could imagine is the big bass was eating the barfish.
Yeah.
Eating the little barfish that was all in the area.
So how deep is this flat?
It was about 18 foot deep where we was. It was about 16 to 19 foot.
On top of the on top of the flat, feeding. So y'all pull up there this morning. It's going down. Did y'all catch them all? You know, like the Rayburn's notorious for catching them in 10 casts in 15, 20 minutes, or did y'all sit there on that flat for most of the morning?
We was catching them first thing in the morning for sure. It looked like there was like wolf packs of them. Like you catch one, just hurry up and throw back in there, and you might catch one more. But that'd be it for just right there at that exact spot. But it was I would say about a football and a half field size area. We just kept circling until we got what we had. But the first fish, I believe, the bigger one was a 5 something I caught, and then Ben hooked one almost. He hooked one over 6, and it jumped off on a crankbait and I stuck the net down in the water and caught it in the net. So that was nice.
Things going your way when that happens.
Yeah. So really, Brett was obviously I don't think grass was a factor if you're in 16 to 20 foot of water, but was brush or were they targeting on something? Were they zeroed in on certain piece of structure?
No, not at all. When you looked on active target, there'd be groups of 3 or 4 big ones together, and they're just following in little packs of barfish and stuff around. So that's why you would just make super long casts. And just cut. I mean, sometimes if it hit off, they would definitely see some on a stump or something down there. There might be 1 or 2 big ones on a stump, but it wasn't no individual. It was just trying to figure out how far they actually went in the area, and then stopping there and then going back through it.
Right.
What was y'all's big fish, Brett?
We had a 777 and a 780.
Oh, okay. And I mean, when did y'all have the 31 pounds? How long did it take y'all to get to 31?
I think we had 31 at like 8:30 that morning.
Wow.
See, we had 2 3-pounders, and we had 2 3-pounders and 3 big ones. I caught a big one. She ate it right under the trolling motor. Like I was telling you, I seen a wolf pack over the I actually did use. I used large active target on that cast because I seen the 3 of them. And there was only 20 feet from me following that bait, and I made it go right through there, and she ate it under the boat. That was one of the only ones I actually seen. And then when I landed her, we had a 3-2 and a 3 still in the live well. We had that one that was 5'8", a 6'3", and then a 7. That one was like 7'7". Yeah. And I hooked one that just started stripping about 5 minutes later, I hooked one that started stripping my line out. And I thought it was a carp that started stripping it so hard. And it ended up getting stuck on a stump. And I thought, I went over there to go get it, and my line broke. It was actually a crankbait I found that day in practice floating on top of the water. It was like a big 6-inch crankbait with somebody had done. They had nice hooks, and they must have just lost it. I mean, it was like meant to be. I seen it floating in practice in the water. I just happened to tie it on that night.
Oh, my gosh.
That's how I caught my 3 big ones came like that. I caught one of the ones we weighed in on a big cream worm when things got tougher. That 3-3, that big old 16-inch cream worm. But I ended up breaking my line on that fish, and 5 minutes later, I thought it was a carp. It stripped my line so hard. I ended up hearing a noise of crankbait. I turned and looked, and it was about a 9 or 10 pounder trying to throw that crankbait.
Wow.
So I was kind of sad at the moment, like, oh, that was the winning fish right there. We could have done. I mean, that would have gave us 30 pounds and over 30, and because we had them 2 threes, but it didn't take but about 10 more minutes, and then Ben said, "Get the net," and that's the one that was ended up being 7-8. So it made me feel better pretty soon. I didn't have to think about it long.
Yeah, well, They didn't show your biggest bass. They showed the guys behind y'all had a 1035. Florney and Chumley, they had a 1035. I just wondered what your big fish. So it was a 7-pounder basically, but.
Yes.
I look at that second place team. They had to be disappointed.
So who weighed in first?
They had weighed in already. They had done weighed in when we got there. We would come to weigh in early because we had 1 or 2 of them not looking good.
Yeah.
And so we headed at 12:30. Things had slowed down, and we started headed back to go weigh in. We was looking at a live one, and one just wasn't looking good. And so we wanted to go get back and get her weighed in, and we did. I mean, just in time.
So y'all went at 12:30, and they had already weighed in?
Yeah, well, it took us about 1 to 1:15 when we got there, and they had done weighed in.
So, and that doesn't surprise me, Brett, because there were some teams the weekend before when I fished over there. There was a couple of guys that had big weights that one of them weighed in at 8:30 in the morning, and because he didn't want to keep them alive all day. And did you have the weights to keep them alive? Did you have to fizz any fish?
We had fizzing, we had weights, we had G-juice, ice, everything. But it was just it was just getting so hot. I guess one of them just still wasn't doing good. All them big fish.
And y'all knew y'all had 30 or so.
Yeah, but we had them all. We had been weighing them on the.
Oh, okay. What did it show y'all? What did y'all scale show y'all having?
Right at 31.
So walking up, did you hear that they had already weighed in a 31-pound bag?
Yeah, we seen it. It made me see it too. Yeah, because we had that 132. We had a 327 that we didn't go. We didn't get the cold yet. I mean, I think we definitely could have, but it had just got tougher, and then just the risk of trying to stay out there, it just wasn't quite worth it.
So a dead fish penalty would have knocked you out.
Well,
yeah, you'd have been second.
Yeah. 1 pound.
So you had 31.50, and second place was 31.40, a difference of about $45,000 between first and second. So that has to be tough on William and them, no doubt.
I've been on the wrong end of the stick every single time. I've tied for an Elite Series tournament for the cut line and lost $10,000 by a tiebreaker. And I've lost by 1 ounce 2 different times, not making the $10,000 check when I really needed it, and missed it by 1 ounce 2 different times. Been the first person out, so it felt good to finally be on the right end of that.
Brett, I want to get your opinion on something real quick. It's kind of our topic of discussion later on. We had a poll question on our Facebook page, and it's basically about 3-fish tournaments and keeping fish alive. Your opinion on should tournaments, say starting in June, go to 3-fish limits instead of having these 5-fish limit tournaments?
Yes, sir. I believe so. It's just I don't like to go around a big fish. It's hard. Got that many big ones in there. It's just not good on them. It'd be better just to have 3 of them in there instead of trying to keep 5 of them.
Yeah. I think Kevin and I both agree with you on that. And there were some people that did agree on our Facebook poll, but there were some that were 5-fish adamant. A lot of people have the theory that, it's easy for a guy to get lucky and catch 3. Usually, according to Chad Potts, when Bass Champs went to 3-fish one year, he said, I ain't never caught so much grief in my life over making that decision. He said, but when I looked at it, the same guys were still winning that would have won with 5-fish limits, but you couldn't convince the majority of the people that was the case.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So, but anyway, Brett, congratulations, man. We know you're busy and appreciate your time, man.
Oh, I appreciate y'all guys for having me on. It hadn't been too long ago when we talked last time.
Yeah, we'll try to have you on a little more often, man.
Well, Brett, I appreciate you coming on. I know you're busy today, man, but thanks for sharing how it all went down. Appreciate it.
Thank y'all very much, guys. Y'all have a good one.
You too, man. All right. Brett Pruitt, former Elite Series Pro, along with his partner Ben South, winning the Bass Champs shootout, Texas shootout over on Sam Rayburn. And again, real quick, William Flourney and James Chumley finished second. They had a 10.35 pound kicker for 31.40. As Kevin just said, it was a $4,500 difference. They won
$45,000.
$45,000 difference. They won $5,500, which included the big bass. Third place was Lee Leonard and Scott Browder, Falls City, Texas. They had 27-22. Michael Fesco and Holden Ainsworth, they finished fourth with 26.99. And just Kevin, as you and I talked off the air, you had to go, the last place check was 20.65, but there were 3 teams that weighed over 20 pounds that did not get a check in this event.
So 15th place got the last check.
Yes.
15th place was 20.65 pounds. 16th, 17th, and 18th place had over 20 pounds and did not get a check.
Yeah.
And we talked who we talked to last week that Rayburn was fishing so well. Chris Wilson. Chris Wilson on after winning the solo 150, and the amount of good sacks they had there, and then the Outlaw Outdoors team Father's Day tournament had a really good. We said last week, and I said it's going to take 30 to 31 to win this thing, and because Rayburn is just fishing very, very well right now as far as the quality of fish that is biting, and man, to have 3. Could you imagine walking up there with a 20-pound sack and you're not getting a check?
You're not even getting a check. That's got to be depressing. Really, I'm looking all the way down here. To make the top 30, you basically had to have 17 pounds or better just to get in the top 30. So if you don't think Rayburn's fishing well right now, think again. It's still fishing as good as it ever has, and you just continue to be in amazement. If you're a tournament angler like me and Kevin have been and are, week after week after week, tournament after tournament, you just think there's going to be a drop-off. And even in the summertime, this time of year, normally, I remember the days when 20-pound bag, you were going to win a tournament in June and July. That was the winning weight. Now, we're busting 30-pound sacks over there, Kevin.
Well, I mean, the Rayburn's on fire. I mean, it just is. It's fishing really well. It's healthy. And now that people can go out there and explore, and I'm not talking about the forward-face sonar. I'm talking about how we have gotten with the down imaging and side imaging and the things that people are able to find now and have found over the years on Sam Rayburn. We're just really able to zone in on those big fish and where they're living offshore this time of year. Yeah,
that's exactly right. All right, we're going to take another quick break, and when we return, we're going to wrap up the high school national championship that took place Pickwick Lake when we return with more Tackle Talk Live.
Are you looking for the finest custom-built rods ever made? Then look no further than Pride Rods. Fishing rods built to last and made in Montgomery, Texas. Constructed by Mr. Billy Kistler with the finest Gary Loomis North Fork composite blanks available. They offer a complete line of both spinning and casting rods for both fresh and salt water. Pride Rods do more than pass the eye test. They excel in performance as well. Ask your local tackle dealer if they carry Pride Rods and pick one up and try it for yourself. You'll see why so many anglers are using Pride Rods. To learn more, go to priderods.com or call 832-418-6040. The next time you're headed for Toledo Bend or Sam Rayburn, stop by Keith's Toledo Bend Tackle. They have an awesome supply of everything you'll need to catch the big ones. Whether your trip calls for bass fishing, white perch tackle, catfish bait, or the ultimate fighting shiners, Keith's Tackle has you covered. Keith and former Elite Series Pro Ben Matsubu also have the latest information on what, how, and where you need to be fishing on Sam Rayburn or the Bend. So for all your tackle needs, check out Keith's Toledo Bend Tackle, located just off Highway 21 on the Texas side of Toledo Bend, or call 409-625-0181. The Lakes Insurance Agency is an independent insurance agency that has been taking care of Texans' insurance needs for over 25 years, offering auto, homeowners, boat, RV, life, health, and commercial insurance. Owner Clark Moore is a local guide and tournament angler who understands your insurance needs and wants to be your go-to guy for all your insurance needs. For a free quote, give him a call and see why so many Texans trust the Lake Insurance Agency. Located at 805 Southeast Stalling Suite 3, Nacogdoches, Texas, or call 936-205-4467. You're watching Tackle Talk Live, a show dedicated to making you a better angler. Now back to the guys with all the inside scoop, Kevin Jean and Steve Graff.
You're watching Tackle Talk Live. Once again, I'm Ranger Diver Pro Staffer Steve Graff, along with V&M General Manager Kevin Jean. And this segment, our final segment, is brought to you by Pride Rods, Keys Toledo Bend Tackle, and the Lakes Insurance of Nacogdoches, Texas. 2 locations, Nacogdoches and Broadus, Texas, right there on the lakes and shores of Sam Rayburn, Texas. So thank you for tuning us in. And again, with tournaments kind of coming to a halt, Kevin and I'll be taking a little summer break. Is this our last show, Kevin?
Yeah, this is our last show. We're going to take July and August off.
Yeah.
Because this July 1st is actually tomorrow.
Right.
We're going to take July and August off just because not really much going on, and it's going to give us a chance, just like we did last year. We've got to upgrade a few things around here. Also upgrade some new sponsors we'll have coming on board. We'll have some new intros coming on just to kind of get everything ready to start off our new season, basically starting in September to run through December, January, into next year about this time. So we're just going to take a couple months off here and kind of revamp and get ready for the new season.
Yep, and that's why it's important. If you go to our YouTube, make sure you hit subscribe because that way you'll get notifications when we're coming back on. And looking forward to seeing everybody come the month of September with as championship time of the year kicks in with regionals, national championships. All your championship events take place usually in the fall. So looking forward to that. And but anyway, real quick, this week's we're going to wrap up the high school fishing. The national championship took place Lake Pickwick, Louisiana. Had a great showing. Lake Creek, Texas, out of Montgomery, Texas. They were the winners of this event. A total of 39.09 pounds, 3-day total. And then second place was New Hampshire, some high school out of New Hampshire. Third place was Awatona Senior High School. Not sure where that's located. But then in fourth place, Ian Carter and Colby Dark. I played baseball here at Northwestern State with Colby's dad, Randall Dark. He was a pitcher here at Northwestern State. His son, they fished for the Northeast Louisiana High School Anglers. They finished fourth with 32.03. Congratulations to those guys. Fairview High School, I'm not sure where that's located. Alcoa High School. Calvary Baptist Academy in Shreveport. Mark Andrew Trant and his brother Noah Trant, they finished seventh with 29.02. And looking on down the list here, finishing in 10th, rounding out the top 10, Benton High School. Not a surprise. They always do very well in these high school events. Greg alums and Zach Halbert. Had a chance to visit with them yesterday. They went over how they kind of caught all their fish, and they were deep fish. Pretty much all the fish they caught were out deep. You know, there's 400 and something teams in this event. And of course, I've been to Pickwick. I think you've been to Pickwick. To have that many boats on that body of water, and everybody's wanting to ledge fish, of course, there. That's kind of what you do there. Not all the time, but it's a big player there. It's a big part of what people do there. Just getting away from people. And Zach told us that, and him and Greg both said Greg had a hard time getting away from people, and they actually couldn't get away from everybody.
You can't get away from people.
No.
It's like fishing the Sealy's, the Sealy event on Sam Rayburn Toledo Bend. That's how Pickwick is when you put 400 or 500 boats on it.
Right.
You can't, especially when it's a ledge fishing deal. You can't get away from everybody. You're going to share the water, and honestly, that's really where the boat draw comes into effect.
Right.
You really need a good boat draw on day one to kind of get to your spot and say, okay, I'm gonna fish here. Here's my boundaries of where I'm fishing at.
Right.
You can have that.
Yeah.
You know, so that does play a role in when you're talking about big ledge fishing tournaments like this size.
And like you said, I mean, the number you draw, especially probably for the first day, is probably really important. If you're at the back of the pack on the first day, because then you don't get to establish your territory.
Yeah.
It makes it tough for a team to probably come back and try to win that kind of event.
And it is. And again, ledge fishing is so much about claiming your territory. In an event like that, everybody there knows, hey, I was here day one. I was here all day long, or I was here at noon on day one, and I call them, so I'm going to be back here on day two. Just letting you know. So
Give them 400 teams. Too many?
I think so.
I think it is too. I'm of the opinion there's too many teams on one body of water.
Yeah, you've got to have a qualifier, another qualifier, and I know they do, and I know there's a bunch of high school teams, but 400 teams on. I'm just worried, Steve, that we're leaving a bad taste in these high school anglers.
No doubt. Kevin Van Dam said the same thing.
We're leaving a bad taste in there. When they get through with high school, they're going to be, I'm done. I'm not done fishing.
Kevin Van Dam summed it up the best for me. He said the one thing I asked him, the question was, do you think high school bass fishing has reached its peak? I thought the answer was going to be no. He said yes. And he said, and here's why. Kids today look for instant gratitude. They want satisfaction and gratification immediately. They're not ones to grind things out today and be patient and learn how to do things. They want it now. They want that ribbon. They want that trophy. They want it now. They don't have the patience that probably our generation grew up having and how we had to fish. We didn't have that opportunity with high school bass fishing.
And what's fun about getting on Pickwick with 400 other boats, and every place you go, there's 5 boats on a spot you want to fish.
Yeah.
You know, what's fun about that? No. You're going to burn these kids out on that. So, no, I don't think it's a good thing. And as you said, Steve, I don't think it's definitely not a good thing for this generation.
No. Now, back to our Facebook poll question this past week. With emphasis on fish care this time of year, should bass tournament organizations go to a 3-fish limit for all events June through August? We've got a printout here of kind of some of the key comments and the comments that I thought were pertinent to what the question was. Number one, I'll start with the first one. Dean Lewis, appreciate your feedback, gang. Appreciate everybody's feedback. He says, no, stay with 5-fish limit, but make it a 1-pound penalty for dead fish, which will force guys to take better care of the fish. Now, a lot of organizations have already done that.
They have. A lot of people do it. A lot. I don't. A lot.
Is it enough to force guys to try to take? I still think it's not enough.
I'm not. It's a lot. I mean, 1-pound penalty is a lot. But
yes.
It's hard no matter how hard you try. As you heard Brett talk about, they did it all. They fizzed. They had the belly weights. They had the G-juice. They had ice. They had everything going. And he still had one not acting right, and they had to go in.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard this time of year to keep them alive. It really is.
And if you have 5 big ones, 30 pounds, now they were fortunate enough. They had 2 sides of the live well. They didn't have to deal with a co-angler. When you're fishing some of the stuff the pro-ams like Kevin and I fish, you got one side. And if you got 20 pounds in that one side, it's crowded in there. And that, to me, is another issue.
Yeah,
because the other co-angler has the other side of the tank. And so it just 3 fish in even 3 5-pounders in one side live well is a lot better than 5. So it would maybe help try to keep some of these fish alive. The next one, Kevin, Clifford.
Clifford Wyman, another question is, should tournaments consider going to shorter hours during extreme heat? Would it help gain or lose tournament entries? And I believe a lot of tournaments do that.
I know Chris Whalen went to a 2 o'clock weigh-in.
Chris, I know Outlaw Outdoors does it, and some others. You know, and I agree with that 100%. I like the 1:30, 2 o'clock, and I know some the local club here in town. Grant Dowden and those guys, they move it back too. As we get in, it's like a 2 o'clock or a 1:30 weigh-in.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be out there from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock.
Not in this heat.
And most of the time, as Brett alluded to a while ago, first or second place this past weekend weighed in by 12:30.
Yeah.
You know, most of the time a big sack is already caught before 12. So if a circuit hasn't gone to that earlier weigh-in, I think they definitely should.
What about coming from a 4 to a 12 noon?
I mean, that mixes in your night fishing, and that has a lot of liabilities to it, taking off at dark, running around before
liability could be an issue.
If I was running a tournament circuit, I definitely would not do that.
Right.
But I would definitely look at more of the daylight till 1 o'clock even tournaments.
Right.
You know,
because usually by then you got your fish.
Usually by then, that time of year, you have your fish. You might upgrade once or twice more, and that might be what wins somebody the tournament, but still. Right. I think you're going to get more anglers want to fish saying, all right, it's 100 degrees outside, but I can fish till noon.
Yeah.
I can fish till noon and not be absolutely miserable. So I do like shrinking the tournament day, even though you're losing time.
Right.
It's better on the fish, even if it's a 3-fish limit.
Oh, I agree.
I think it's a lot better on the fish.
I agree. Clayton Hugard. He says, evening tournaments are better. However, I don't think they should run weigh-in tournaments in Texas during those months that we talked about, June, July, August. He's wanting basically no tournaments or make them evening tournaments. But again,
can't do that.
Do that. No. Barry Celestine.
There should be live well checks to see if live well pumps and timers are working. I do like that. I think you should. Now, and Stephen, a lot of the bigger tournaments, that's a rule.
Yeah.
And a lot of them, I know BFLs, ABAs and
ABA,
stuff, you
Chris
have
Wayne.
to drive right by the dock. They have to see it's working.
Yep.
We do have live well area checks and a lot of those tournaments.
Yes,
we do.
we really do.
Bass Champs does it.
Yep.
Bass Champs does
That's
it. That's
already been implemented. Charles Stoker says yes, and to have a top grade live wells with additives to keep fish alive. I'm seeing way too many dead fish floating after weigh-ins. Also, mandatory fizz tool and know how to use it.
Well, yeah, and Steve, I got to jump in right there because this is my biggest thing is people say, well, I fizz them. If you don't know how to fizz a fish correctly,
you might as well
kill it instantly.
Yep.
So you can't just say everybody has to have a fizzing tool and you can't just go watch YouTube, in my opinion, if you've never done it before. You've got to have enough knowledge to handle a fizzing tool if you're going to fizz fish.
Yes.
Or like I said, it is worse to try to fizz a fish. If you do not know how to do it, you will kill that fish instantly.
Yep, you're exactly right. Larry Mosby talks about another guy, says has MLL style, have an MLL style tournament where you weigh and release, and it all gets recorded on a GoPro camera and scales that he provides. This solution. This is a guy named Jeff Bunch who runs these MLL style tournaments. This is a solution to the problem in keeping fish alive. Okay, now that sounds great, and I'm all for this MLF style of fishing. But
this time of year, it's good. Don't get me wrong, but that is hard. When you're talking about, just take the Texas Shootout this past weekend. When you're talking about 150 boats, it's hard to do that with 150 boats.
I know these kayak guys are doing it. I need to go to a kayak weigh-in to see exactly how they're doing it, because I know they got a lot of kayaks that participate in these events.
It runs through an app.
Yeah,
it runs through an app.
So I'm maybe that's part of the solution. I don't know. We're not saying no, but it's something we'd want to delve into a little bit more. And Amber Cooper, she had a great comment. I thought, just put ice in your live wells, fill your cooler with ice, add some throughout the day. Put Sure Life in the live wells. I've never used Sure Life, but I use G-Juice, probably same thing. Get you some fish clips, and those are important. And Ben's Mender fizzing tool, again, as Kevin's already talked about, make sure you know how to use that. And now we don't have to worry about fish dying, is what she says. But cooler water has higher dissolved oxygen content, and she is right on
and
that.
Amber, I agree with everything she said now. 100% agree.
Right.
But you don't, it's not like it's, okay, well, they're fine. They're not going to die. I've been there. Amber, I've done, and I do exactly everything you said right here, and I've still had some die.
Yeah.
Probably, it's been 5-6 years ago. Nick LeBrun and I fished this Texas Shootout tournament. We had 20-something pounds, and about 1 o'clock, I catch another 4 or 5 pounder. We look in there at a coal, and we have a 2-pounder that's dead.
Yeah.
And we have done everything. We had both. We had ice. We had fizz that morning. We had the weight. The fish clips. We've done it all. But you just look in there, and all of a sudden, 5 minutes ago, that 2-pound, because we was checking it a lot.
Yes.
Because we did not want that 2-pound fish to die. And we look in there, and I go to Cole, and I go, dude, she's dead.
Yeah.
And there's just nothing you can do about it. Sometimes there's absolutely nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, and how the fish is hooked is really critical to that fish surviving in your live well. One thing a biologist has told me, if that fish is hooked in the tongue, he's probably going to die. No questions asked. That fish, because what it does is it creates internal bleeding inside the fish instantly, and most of the fish that are hooked in the tongue, 95%, will not survive. Or if you hook them in the gullet, deep in the throat. This time of year when you're fishing deep with big worms, that can happen because you think you feel the bite, and he's already got it. He may be swimming off with it before you ever feel him. He's already got it halfway down his throat, and you set the hook. Now that fish is hooked in the gullet, deep in the throat. Now, I have a special tool in my boat that I have purchased and I have used over the years. It has saved me so many fish, and it's a trigger mechanism that Bill Dance promoted. I saw it on the Bill Dance show, believe it or not, Bill Dance Outdoors. I saw it on his show and how to use that tool, and it's very effective. It's a trigger grip. You run it down in there. You hook the hook with this little adapter deal, a little hook adapter, and you squeeze the trigger and it pops that hook out. I'm telling you, that thing right there has saved me more fish than I've given that tool to a couple of my other buddies, and they're like, dude, that's the best tool I've ever gotten.
So let's go back and say why a lot of guys don't like the 3-fish limit for the summer.
Yeah.
Because it mostly turns into a big fish tournament.
Yeah.
Because if somebody catches a 9 or a 10 and they just got a couple 5s, but let's use this past weekend for example.
Right.
Texas Shootout. I don't know the weights of everybody's fish, but I don't see Brett and them winning with a 3-fish limit because he said he had 2 7.5s and a 6.5. And now he's going to have over 20, but William and them had a 10.5 big fish.
Yep.
So for them, I mean, if they just got 30 pounds, so they had 20 with 4.
Yeah.
So
those are all 5-pounders.
Those, so at least 5-pounders.
At least.
So he might have had, let's just say he has a 6 and a 5.
Yeah.
So at 16, that's 21. It would have been close.
Yeah.
Brett and them would have been close, but William could have absolutely have got them because he had that one that was bigger. So when you're bringing it down to a 3-fish limit, that one big bass helps you tremendously compared to a 5-fish. Now, if your 4th and 5th fish is only 2-pounders, that 10 doesn't mean as much as it would in a 3-fish tournament. So that's the reason a lot of guys don't like it, and I understand that. I definitely understand that.
But just on their big fish kicker, there was a 3-pound difference between Brett's and the guys that came in second.
Yeah.
And again, guys, look. Appreciate all the feedback on the poll question. Again, we like putting those out there. We want to hear what you got to say because some of the stuff we will transfer. I know I'll relay some of this information back to tournament directors and the organizations and say, hey, here's what we discovered. Here's what people are saying. And they do take it into consideration when they make the rules and they're like, never thought about that. So your feedback is important to us, and we pass that along. It doesn't just stop here, and so we do appreciate each and every one of you guys for doing that. Upcoming events, Kevin, July 2nd, Toledo Bend Army Recreation Park monthly bass tournament out of Fort Polk this Saturday, Toledo Bend Rec Center. July 16th, Sportsman's Bass Club of Southwest Louisiana Open Night Tournament. It's a team night tournament. It's out of Big Bass Marina from 7 till 7. And then on July 23rd, Tackle Box, Toledo Bend Open Shootout, Team Night Tournament out of Big Bass Marina. That shootout will be from 7 p.m. at night till 3 a.m. in the morning. You'll weigh in at 3 o'clock. So that's what's coming up. Matter of fact, all those are on Toledo Bend. So don't know of anything on Rayburn, really. Things are slowly. There's got to be something going on we're not aware of.
There'll be some smaller ones.
Yeah. Maybe some high school events are coming up. I'm not for sure, but
not much going on.
No, in one place you can check Outlaw Outdoors. They do a great job. They have a calendar, and they're pretty up to date as to people are using them to post their stuff on there as far as event dates. So check out Outlaw Outdoors, and if you're looking for a schedule, I don't know where else you can find a.
No, that's where I go.
Schedule.
You go to outlawоutdoors.com and you go. It's the Sam Rayburn calendar, and it'll show you all the tournaments they have today. Stacy does a good job of keeping that up to date.
Thank you for tuning us in. We appreciate each and every one of you guys and gals that are watching us each and every week. Spread the word. We're at 3,800 followers. We're wanting 5,000, y'all. By fall, we'd like to have 5,000. Let's see if we can make that happen. And but again, check us out on our YouTube. Make sure you subscribe so you'll know when we're coming back on air in September. If you'd like to become a member of our sponsorship team, message us on Facebook. Kevin will make sure he gets a packet out to you ASAP, like I said, or we'll meet you and take you to lunch. You get a free dinner, free lunch out of it. So for Kevin Jean, our producer James Stanfield, yours truly, Steve Graff, thank you for watching. We'll see you in September.